Yeah.
But there's just a few corrections on it. Yeah, no, this is fine. But much more better.
Good afternoon. Can you start? Pretoria. Pretoria. Who's in Pretoria?
Yeah. Iswa.
Okay.
Peliswa is in Pretoria.
Peliswa with whom?
Okay, I'll be chairing this side of Pretoria. There are journalists who are here.
Okay, thank you, Peliswa. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The minister will now make an announcement, and as per usual, we'll then take the questions. Can we make it short and sweet, please? It's a Thursday. Thank you.
It's typical of an emerging South African culture, where weekends are beginning to start on Thursdays. So that's very dangerous. Nevertheless, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I felt that it was going to be appropriate, and correctly so, that I needed to make this announcement in this particular form so that you could also get an opportunity to pose questions if you want to do so. I'm not saying you should generate questions necessarily, but in case you want clarification, you will then be in a position to clarify yourselves accordingly. These things are very intimidating. Firstly, just to start here and say that in the recent cabinet sitting, the position was endorsed that Major General Ntanda's of Benning Tlemeza is subsequently confirmed to head the DPCI, generally called the Hawks. Now, it would be, I think, well known to yourselves that he has been acting since General Anwar Dramat left the service as of December 24, 2014 to date. Now, in terms of profile, Major General Ntanda's of Benning Tlemeza matriculated at Falo High School in Bofenbaba in the Eastern Cape in 1980 with a matric examination. He joined the South African Police Service in the then Transkei in 1981 and proceeded to study for a bachelor's degree in police science with the University of the Transkei and completed in 1989. He further studied for a B Juris degree with the same university, and that was completed in 1996. He's currently studying for an LLB degree with the University of South Africa. Major General Ntlemeza boasts a career of about 34 years in the police service, and he has progressed through the ranks at some point as an investigator and through the middle and senior management levels of the police service. He also served as a commander for the detectives branch in Alexander and acting station commander between 1996 and 1998. In 1998, he was appointed to the position of area commander for detective services in North Gauteng, a position which he occupied for a period of about 2 years until he was promoted to provincial commander general for investigations in Gauteng and the Eastern Cape. General Ntlemeza also served as the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for the Eastern Cape and Limpopo, and served on various responsibility areas, including detective section, crime detection services, policing, and crime intelligence for a period spanning over an 11-year period. The General Ntlemeza has also in his career registered quite a lot of achievements, particularly in the area of crime detection and policing. In various areas where he has been assigned, he's commonly known amongst the community stakeholders for his work, particularly in terms of interaction with community members and servicing at various points. He also has investigated a number of cases dealing with vehicle theft, hijackings, ATM bombings with successful conviction rates. His work also assisted in the recovery and convictions in over 100 cases involving vehicle theft. He has also made a contribution in stabilizing crime in a number of areas and provinces, including Gauteng, Eastern Cape, and Limpopo. As I had said earlier on, that he assumed the acting position soon after General Arnold Ramat had left. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman that I'm presenting before you has a 34-year experience as a police officer, something like 30 years in detective investigation and intelligence services, 11 years at senior management service. He's also in possession of relevant skills and qualification for a job such as this. He possesses a Bachelor of Arts in Police Science, a B Juris, and currently, of course, as we have stated, he's working towards an LLB degree with UNESA. So that's the presentation we want to make. I'm not sure whether we want to also give him an opportunity now also. Yeah, perhaps we should do so. Yeah, go ahead, sir. In this place, you activate the mic, and then you must take this microphone towards it. Otherwise,
the Minister of Police, the representatives of the media houses, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to first convey my appreciation to the Minister of Police and the members of the Cabinet for the confidence they have shown in me. Over the past month, as the acting head of the Hawks, I have taken it on my shoulders to ensure that this DPCI is steered in the right direction towards the fight against crime, to contribute towards a safe and secure environment for all inhabitants of the country. This appointment signals that the Cabinet believes in the abilities and capabilities of the DPCI, and therefore emphasizes the importance and the relevance of the hawks, that is DPCI, towards the fight against crime. The Constitution of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996, expects from us to create a safe and secure environment for all citizens of this country. Thus, we commit ourselves unconditionally to the execution of the mandate bestowed upon us as outlined in Section 205 of the Constitution. Honorable Minister of Police, ladies and gentlemen, the DPCI will ensure a multidisciplinary and integrated approach in the prevention, combating, investigation of all priority offenses, being serious corruption, serious commercial crimes, and serious organized crime. I'm talking about drugs. DPCI commit to strive for excellence, discipline, professionalism, integrity, honesty, perseverance, teamwork, loyalty. Patriotism to our country must characterize our being on a day-to-day basis. Understanding our mandate towards the fight against crime through intelligence-driven investigation of crime and operation cannot be overemphasized. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let me assure you and the citizens of this country of my unwavering commitment towards the fight against crime and to the rule of law, taking into account the Bills of Rights. It is my wish that the DPCI prove itself as sophisticated, competent, reliable, and trusted arm of policing in South Africa. I want just to say when I'm concluding, there are no traffic jams along the Extra Mile. A certain man stated, Roger Staubach. I thank you.
Thank you. I will now take the questions. I see Wyndham's hand was going up, or it wasn't. Was one, Marianne? Now, I'll start with Marianne. Marianne, I'll start with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne Merton, Independent Newspapers. A couple of questions. Are the matters that found the General under investigation by IPET, have they been resolved? Is there a comment from either the Minister or the General himself regarding statements by a Pretoria High Court judge that found the General dishonest with the court in the matter of application against Zibia's overturned suspension? And if the Minister could elaborate on what made the General the candidate, and if the General could perhaps elaborate why he thinks that he's the best person for the job. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Siabang Mkhonazi from Independent Newspapers. Just perhaps a follow-up question and one question to the Minister. Were there political considerations in the appointment? I know this issue has been coming up quite often in Parliament and around it. There should be no political consideration. You have listed the 34-year experience of the General, and perhaps if you may indicate whether there were political considerations And secondly, I just wanted to find out from you, Minister, in terms of the marching orders to the general, have you really indicated to him what is it that he needs to do over the short, medium, and long-term period while he's heading the Hawks, given the instability that has occurred in the past?
Victoria?
There's no question for this round.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Ms. Martin, just remind me of your first question.
In 2013, with the ongoing Zimbabwe judicial cycle or something, IPET announced that it was investigating certain cases against. I just wanted to find out whether that matter has been laid to rest. And then, as I said, more recently, there were comments by a Victoria High Court judge regarding the honesty or lack thereof of the general, whether that has been resolved and dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you. IPET investigates a number of cases. I'm just not so sure exactly. I mean, there are many cases that have been referred to IPET, even the issue around the renditions, for an example, at some point, of course, the IPET dealt with it. But when the IPET investigated, for instance, the renditions question, General Clemeza was not part of the focal point of the investigation this time. I'm not sure where he was at the time, but in recent times when the matter arose in 2014, I'm aware that General Clemeza was the Deputy Provincial Commissioner in Limpopo. Now, the comments by the Honorable Judge, they were just comments. Yeah, they were just comments, and we do not know where that came from, in a sense that one would have expected, for an example, that such matters or such conclusions could have been arrived at after interrogation and cross-examining whatever the issues must have been and so forth to arrive then at such a conclusion, but also subsequently issue an order to that effect and so on. So comments were just comments by the Honorable Judge. But we would also know that post those comments, we had commissioned the Waxman's work around this issue, and in fact, the conclusions by Waxman were also in contradiction to what the comments were by the Honorable Judge. It is also known, and probably common cause now, that post both the comments by the judge and the investigation work by the Waxman's attorneys, you also had a process, a disciplinary process, which also has concluded the matter in a particular way. So that's the flow. But comments by the judge, they just remained comments, or they were just comments, which we also do not know what actually informed them, and so on. But that's a different discussion that altogether. Now, we have just outlined the scope of competency, if I may put it that way. 34 years as a police officer, but not only just that, various roles that the general has been playing within the police service and so forth. And of course, that was also in itself, besides what is written in the CV. Remember that we had to follow a due process in this particular instance. Interviewed candidates that appeared before us, examined all the relevant sort of facts and so on. Now, and therefore, at the interviewing sort of stage and process, he emerged as better, best performing candidate. With some points were they political considerations? Absolutely not. I mean, the fight against crime, I always hear people talk about political considerations, but you know, if crime has got to be fought, what political considerations are there to be given? I just don't get it. So the general has got a Bachelor of Arts qualification in political science, for an example. Is that a political consideration? Absolutely not. Has got a legal qualification at the ULIS and so on. Is that a political consideration? Absolutely not. You know, those are areas of competency and whatever, but also experience counts quite a lot. Heading a detective branch, key critical investigations, working in the crime intelligence environment and so forth. So that pack of experience itself is a major area of consideration. What you refer to as marching orders, the fact of the matter is there are two broad sort of critical areas that has got to be focused on, and over his acting period, for instance, he may want to talk about that, was also the question of looking at beefing up capacity within DPCI. They've had, I'm sure you've talked to the Detail General about this, when he came in his acting capacity, there were a number of vacancies, for example, key critical vacancies, and we're still in the process of essentially filling up those vacancies, particularly in the light of the November 2013 judgment by the Constitutional Court in terms of ensuring that we have got to make sure that the DPCI is sufficiently capacitated and independent and everything else. So we are moving in that sort of direction. But I think the question of the actual statistics in terms of how we have addressed the issue of capacity there, he will also speak to that. We also needed to, I mean, for an X amount of time, I don't know how long, DPCI was also functioning without a strategic plan. So one of the things that the general also needed to zoom into was also the question of the development of a strategic plan, because it's essential that an establishment, an institution such as this one, has got to must be guided in its work, in its operations and everything else, and focus, dictated to by a strategic plan, for example, amongst other things. So that's the one thing. But also, when you take what we may loosely refer to as the external factors, is the fact that we need to intensify our efforts around the issue of organized crime, for example. It's the biggest threat to the stability of South Africa and the country as a whole and our society. So it's essentially, and that's the core sort of mandate of the DPCI that has got to be effectively sort of focused on, and so it goes. But I think we may want to talk about the other institutional issues around the question of beefing up capacity, for an example, within DPCI in general.
Thanks, Honorable Minister. When I took over the DPCI, we did not have, for example, the head for anti-corruption. We're having people who were acting, and also organized crime. But now I can just say now we're having now a general now who's the head of the anti-corruption, and also the general, major general, who's also the head of the organized crime, and also commercial branch. So it means now, in terms of capacity, DPCI now is in par now. And I can give assurance to the people of this country that now when we deal with the issue of corruption, we'll be dealing with it vigorously, and also in terms of the organized crime and commercial branch. And below that, we had a lot of brigadiers who have been promoted. I can say the first bench, they were plus minus 13. And the second bench, they were plus minus 7. So I think now in terms of capacity, we are going somewhere. As my minister is saying, we did not have any strategy in the DPCI when I took over. But now I can say the strategy is there. I presented in Parliament even the police guidelines. So now there is a direction in the DPCI now.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Minister. Paul Carter from Bloomberg. Minister, the judgment, you said there were comments or just comments by the judge. But those comments are based on his finding against the general. And he said, and I'll quote in the public record, the judge said, I'm of the view that the conduct of the third respondent, that's the general, shows that he is biased and dishonest. To show that the third respondent is biased, lacks integrity and honor, he made false statements under oath. That's a very serious claim. Did you actually look at this judgment when finalizing this appointment? And to the general, did you appeal this and did you make false statements under oath? Thank you.
I'm listening again from City Press. I'm basically covered because I also would like the minister to explain just comments, mere comments, when referring to comments made in a court by a judge in a matter that the Major General lost. So it's not like a judge was speaking on the street. It was a court ruling saying the Major General is dishonest. He made up things. So what do you mean by mere comments when you talk about such a ruling?
Okay, Maria?
This is an easy one. I'm not sure, but the general didn't answer the question, what does he think he brings to the job and what makes him the best person for the job? To the minister, just a quick technical question. When you talk about the interview panel, who was sitting on that panel, presumably aside from yourself, and how many candidates were interviewed for the job, please? Thank you.
No, thank you. Let me start with your last one. Are you okay, man?
Yes, thank you.
All right. There were 3 ministers that constituted the panel. Were they 3? I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. Yeah, there were 3, of course. The 4th person was from the HRA function. And you had 5 candidates that appeared before the panel. No, there were 3 ministers plus a deputy minister. Sorry, that's why I'm saying. Yeah, there were 3 ministers plus a deputy minister. So it was a panel of 4 people, 3 ministers, 1 deputy, and then of course the 5th person was then the human resources function. The candidates, of course, there were 5 that appeared. Now, you just read this thing that you just read. You said, I am of the view. So it's a view. It's a, so when you say, what do I mean that it is a comment? It is a comment because if it is an order, it will say so, that it is an order. So I am of the view. That's the starting point of the statement that you just read. So that's the one. But in any case, it should also be remembered that that very same judgment was also appealed, was taken up on review.
Was it overturned? Has it been overturned?
The yeah, maybe you may want to update us on that one, but whether it was over. But the fact is that it was taken up also on yeah, but I'm saying the key critical thing is the very same English word that is used by the very same judge, that I am of the view, not that I order. I am of the view, that's an opinion. Exactly. So that's the point. So if I say those are comments, they were just basically that, comments, with an expression of a view, for an example. But also, the contestation here was also that the expression of that view had not taken into account whether or not such factors were put under interrogation and subjected to scrutiny, for an example, in the court process, for an example, to then arrive at a particular conclusion. And that's why that's what also informed the basis on which the matter had also been taken up on our side. I think Ms. Martin, we are absolutely correct. The gentleman must answer this question. Why does he think that is suitable for this? Yeah. Why are you suitable for this?
This is a very nice question. I want just to say to the media, I think in the world of South Africa, when you measure detectives now, I'll be number 1 or number 2. Mostly all the deputy provincial commissioners who are leading investigation in this country, they are from these hands, my hands. They were trained by me. They were guided by me. So I think I produce a lot of detectives. When I go on myself from the college, I never put uniform on myself up to the rank of a brigadier when I started to wear uniform. So detective is in my blood.
City Press says this.
Sorry, my question, General, did you the court here ruled that you made false statements under oath? Did you or did you not make false statements under oath?
Well, that can't be, because, as you said, that matter is being appealed. So now you're becoming a judge. Now you are.
No, but it didn't.
That question has been dealt with. It's what the general just said. So she's so amused by this thing.
Pretoria?
No, there's no question.
Okay, thank you. There's no question here either. Thank you. I do want to distribute something, Minister, as an addendum, just so that to answer some of these questions.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I did not.
How are you?
There was subsequent